You're tuned in to Nerd Overload, your weekly show for video games, movies, TV shows, comics, tech news, and more. Now your hosts, Cody Pinnick, Samantha Cross, Sam Dunham, and Josh Harrison.
Hey everybody, it's Nerd Overload time again, the pop and geek culture show that really doesn't want to miss another week. I'm Cody.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Samantha.
We have a great show for you this week. Thank you all for tuning in. We're actually going to take a quick break from news this week. We're going to do the supersized check 'em outs this week with the whole crew.
The whole crew, but maybe not all at once.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Josh will be here shortly. So, anyway.
You will get your weekly dose of Josh.
That's right. Yes.
Just not in this half of the show.
All right. So anyway, let's jump right into some of the things we've been checking out. We can just kind of go back and forth a little bit if you want, since we have plenty of time.
Sure. Somebody call something out.
Okay, so I can go ahead and start. One of the things I checked out this week was I went down to Columbus and saw Fritz the Night Owl presented Robocop this past week, and it was really, really great. I love going down to the Fritz the Night Owl things.
I thought he was done.
No, I think this is his final season.
Oh, yeah, that's what they said last season.
Well, yeah, he's had like 4 encore seasons or something like that. But no, it's a lot of fun to get down there and see the Fritz the Night Owl things. I mean, they play the movie in its entirety, but they kind of cut like commercial break sort of things, and they splice his head onto like, different freeze frames of like the, like they're inserting him into the movie, and he gives like a little trivia about the movie and stuff, which is really cool. They did the full extended cut, so it's like all the extra, viscera and like exploding bodies and stuff. But no, it's a lot of fun. I didn't realize they won an Oscar for
Robocop?
No, for Fritz the Night Owl.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, for independent production sort of thing.
Huh,
like one of the smaller ones. But yeah, no, they actually did, and that's really, really cool. And, they just keep chugging along with them. I know this weekend I'm going to be going down and seeing another Fritz the Night Owl thing. They're doing Wayne Stock, which is both Wayne's World movies, and cut in between, it's going to be every SNL Wayne's World sketch.
Oh, no.
And the complete Wayne's World, basically.
I've never seen Wayne's World.
You've never seen Wayne's World?
No.
Well,
are you surprised?
I'm not surprised.
Haven't seen any of the sketches really either. I know very little.
Oh, wow. Well, imagine like what we do, but on public access television. That's basically it. But no, it's going to be great. It's 6 hours long.
Wow.
It's like from 8 until 2 in the morning.
Oh, geez.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a blast. I'm really looking forward to it.
For the long haul.
Mm-hmm. But no, it's going to be a lot of fun. I love going down there to Studio 35 and checking things out.
I'd go to it having not seen it and then hate it and then be stuck in for 6 hours of it.
Yeah.
No, I doubt I would hate it. I'd probably like it. It's definitely a no, I haven't seen that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
One to do in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that might actually be one to watch like both of them and do like our own Wayne Stock for that podcast.
Yeah, that's a good idea. When did it come out?
Oh, mid-80s.
We'll do it the month.
Mid-80s, early 90s.
Like the month it came out for whatever anniversary it is.
Oh, yeah, we'll figure that out.
That's when we'll do it.
So, yeah, sounds good. We're talking a lot about... No, that's fine. We should mention we have another podcast. No, I haven't seen that. It comes out irregularly. And
almost monthly, kind of.
Although we seem to be going once a year almost at this point. But no, we do have another show. It's where Cody watches movies he hasn't seen, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I try to guess what they're about before we see them, and it's fun. It's funny. Check it out.
It's on iTunes.
We're telling you our check it outs. Here's one for you to do at home.
All right, go ahead and go, guys. What do you guys got?
Let's see. Dragon Quest 11 came out this week.
Okay.
Another entry in the long-running line of Dragon Quest games that we don't get enough of in America.
Yeah.
And I think it's spectacular. It's just absolutely great.
Dragon Quest.
Yeah, it's very much Dragon Quest. So if you don't like that series, this isn't going to change your mind because it's just very similar.
Just the same, yeah.
But
it's just like comfort food to me.
Yeah, that's what it is.
The music and seeing it's just relaxing. It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you guys in on a secret. I've only played 7 The one where you're traveling back and forward through time?
Yeah, that's 7.
7. That's the only one I've played all the way through. But I have like 100%ed that one.
Well, that's not even the best one. I mean, it's not a bad one by any stretch of the imagination, but...
I mean, I really liked 7. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
You should definitely dive into the other ones. They're all great.
I probably should, yeah.
The best one is 5.
5?
Because that way you play through the entire life of the hero from when they're a little kid all the way till the end of their life, I assume. I never actually finished it.
Oh, really?
But, like, you grow up, you get married, you have kids that become your party members. It's,
wow.
It's really cool.
No, that is really cool. I will 5. Okay, I'll remember that. I'll have to check that one out for sure.
But this is... More, I mean, it just plays like Dragon Quest. It looks beautiful. The graphics are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But the gameplay is Dragon Quest. Still menu-driven, turn-based combat.
Yeah.
You know, walking around a map, exploring, breaking pots, and throwing barrels to look for stuff. The towns are just enormous. They're, like, ridiculously huge and chock full of little stuff to look for.
Mm-hmm. You know, every time I think of Dragon Quest, I think of that show, Yoshihiko, the Japanese parody show, because it takes so much from Dragon Quest.
Oh, yeah.
It basically is.
Yeah. Oh, did I tell you there's an episode in the third season? The third season, they're jumping around like parallel universes, kind of, and they run into a Final Fantasy party. Oh, no. And they're all like played by American actors. And they're like all extreme with like their hair and like they don't understand, you know, their money, their currency system and stuff like that doesn't match up and things. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
But yeah, if you like Dragon Quest or if you just like JRPGs, it doesn't get much better than Dragon Quest 11, really. And seeing all the classic monsters and really good looking graphics, and they're all cute, fun Akira Toriyama designs. Mm-hmm. It's perfect.
See, that's awesome that the series continues to use the Toriyama stylized characters and monsters and stuff like that. That's really cool, because you'd think, you know, a series that has lasted for so long, they would try to update at some point some of the art assets, but no, keeping it like that is just really cool. Very, very cool.
He's just as much a part of Dragon Quest as like the slime is at this point, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. I can go ahead and jump into another one. Actually, this morning I checked out a documentary on Netflix called The Power of Grayskull. It's a documentary about He-Man.
I saw that on Netflix when I was scrolling through it the other day.
You know what? It's pretty good. Full disclosure, I have little to no attachment to the He-Man property. That was a little bit before my time. The way I look at it, everybody has like that hard line that, you know, you're just not like your fandom or what you're into is just kind of, you don't cross that, you end up not crossing that line. Kind of like sports where, you know, you follow one team but not another, or one sport or not another. He-Man is kind of that line for me. I was never a He-Man guy. I've never been a He-Man guy. I've watched a handful of episodes, and they're fine. Yeah,
I was never a fan of it as a kid, but I've watched it as an adult, and I think it's hilarious.
Oh yeah, it's pretty funny. But no, I watched it because I had actually seen on Twitter some discourse about one of the sections of the documentary that follows the live action movie with Dolph Lundgren, and some of the discussion around that. So I decided, okay, you know, it's an hour and a half long. I'm going to sit and watch it. And it's really interesting. They kind of purport He-Man to be like on the same level as like G.I. Joe and Star Wars and like culturally that high up. And I don't see it being that high a tier.
It's close to G.I. Joe.
It's close, but it's not, I don't think it's there. I don't think it's like G.I. Joe Transformer level. Yeah. It did revolutionize action figures, I guess, because before that, really most action figures were basically Barbie size. Like they had the big Jim, like, you know, Barbie size, or G.I. Joes were humongous, and they kind of redefined that. It was kind of also interesting to hear about how a lot of the backstory and a lot of the you know, character motivation and stuff didn't come from, like, wasn't created initially. They were just toys. They came up with like a little, you know, mini comic just so that the kids had something to go off of, but that was nothing. It was really the cartoon from Funimation that
fleshed out
the entire world.
Yeah, I watched the Toys That Made Us episode about He-Man, and that's really good. And it seems like it's a little contentious between the two groups.
Yeah,
like who created what and who has ownership over what.
Yeah. I think it gets into where like the TV series started creating characters that Mattel would then turn around and make into toys, where before it was the other way around, I guess. They did have some kind of interesting things about, some of the original names of the toys. It was also always going to be something dash man. So Skeletor was like D Man, and Tila was originally named Whoa Man.
Whoa man.
Oh yeah, it was kind of rough.
Wow.
That was kind of rough. But
That explains Ram Man.
Ram Man, yeah. Beast Man.
Beast Man.
Yeah. Merman was originally named Sea Man,
Oh,
and they had to change that quick, and they make
Yeah.
a joke about that in the documentary. But they talked to a lot of the original action figure designers and things like that, and got into some of the kind of inside kind of stuff with like that. Oh, for example, Battle Cat, He-Man's like big giant cat that he rides around
His cat
on.
mount.
Yeah. The reason they came up with that, they needed another vehicle to sell during Christmas time, but didn't have enough time to put anything into production. So what they did was they took, there was a big Jim, like the Barbie-sized action figures from before. There was like Zookeeper Big Jim, and his accessory was a giant tiger because it was proportionally, the same, right size for, the Barbie-sized action figure. So the guy said, well, let's paint it green and put some orange stripes on it. And they go, well, this is going to be huge. What, this isn't going to be right. And one of the designers just said, I don't know, put a saddle on him. And that was it. That was as much thought that went into the character Battle Cat.
I like with the naming convention that She-Ra would have been She-Man.
She-Man, yes. They actually talk a lot about She-Ra in it. It was really fascinating. The series was created by women. Actually, He-Man was directed a lot by, I forget her name, but many of the episodes were like directed by a woman, which was pretty revolutionary at the time. And like everybody who worked at Funimation that was interviewed said, "Oh yeah, She-Ra's the better show. Like we did so much better with that series. It's the much better show." And I kind of agree with them.
Yeah.
But then they get into like kind of the decline a little bit of the property. I guess there was a series in 1990 called The New Adventures of He-Man where he went into space. I do not remember that at all, but I guess there was like 60 episodes of it.
That's where you go when you run out of ideas.
You just go to space. Yeah. And then they got into the live action movie with Dolph Lundgren, and this is the section of the movie that I was really kind of interested in, because if you've ever seen that movie, it's wildly different from anything else that He-Man was, it takes place a lot on Earth to save money, and He-Man doesn't look right. None of the characters look right. And I always thought, well, that's just because it's cheap. It was done by Canon Films. It turns out, no, they had all the money in the world to do it. It was the production designer that was like, I hate this toy. I hate these action figures, and I'm going to make my own thing. And like Mattel went to him and said, "Guys, this doesn't look like He-Man. The kids want He-Man." And the production designer was like, "No, we don't have to do what you say. We're going to make our own thing." And that's why no one looks right.
Oh,
like
man.
not a single one.
That's
like
awful.
The guy was showing like all these like pre-production like designs of a lot of the He-Man costumes. There was one where he was wearing golden battle armor. There was one where he, just looked like a dude. Like none of it was right. But they had a lot of interviews. They had some interviews with Dolph Lundgren, which was cool. He said that the He-Man movie was the only thing for the longest time that he could show his kids that he was in because, there was everything else was blood and guts and gore.
Yeah.
Frank Langella, who played Skeletor, said it's one of his favorite movies that he's ever acted in. He's absolutely loved it. His son was a big fan of He-Man, and at the time he was 40 years old, but he was like working. He said, I was working out in the gym a lot, and I was really proud of my body, and I saw Skeletor from the toy and the cartoon and said, yeah, you know what? I can put on the unitard and the straps. I want to, I'm not going to keep this forever. I want to show this off. And Ken was like, no, we're going to put you in a full body suit. But he counts it as one of his favorite roles because he was behind a mask and was able to just completely ham it up. And worked in some like Shakespeare like lines and stuff like that into his portrayal. But no, it was really fascinating. They even got into they went all the way up until like present. This documentary came out like a week ago. It was like they talked about the 2005 reboot cartoon on Cartoon Network. That wasn't very good. They talk about the action figure line, the classics, like the ones that look like the original
for the adult collector.
Yeah, they talk about everything, and
They talk about the new She-Ra.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
No, actually, they didn't.
Oh,
That's
no.
that's the one thing they didn't
darn.
do. I think it was the movie was pretty much in post production when that was announced. But the most interesting thing I thought, and this has nothing to do with He-Man, it was produced by Adam Goldberg, who is the guy behind the show The Goldbergs.
Oh, yeah. Hey. I can see the connection.
Yeah. So yeah. So I would definitely say go check it out. I mean, even if you have no connection to He-Man itself, but if you're interested in like the history of toys and the history of how creations are like build up over time and kind of snowball into their own kind of thing.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth taking a look
good.
at. Yeah.
I'd watch it. I enjoyed the Toys That Made Us is another good series on Netflix that I would highly recommend.
I've watched about a handful of those, and they are very good. I heard season 3 has a Power Rangers episode where they're going to talk about the Power Rangers toys.
Did they call you?
No,
about it?
Unfortunately they did not call me. I mean, you know,
They really should have.
They really should, you know.
But yeah, I've seen both seasons of it, and they're all really good. The Sanrio one was really interesting because I don't know anything about Sanrio until I watched this, and it was interesting to learn about how it got started and its philosophy, which is that people enjoy getting small gifts.
I mean, they're not wrong. I mean, yeah. I'll take a tiny gift. Why not?
Do you want to talk about Krull?
We could talk about Krull. I also need to talk about SNK Heroines Tag Team Battle.
Oh, that's out?
It comes out on the 7th, which will be after this airs.
Okay.
And we got a pre-release copy of it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of light on content. There's nothing but like a story mode and a survival mode if you're playing by yourself, and you can blow through the story mode in about 20 minutes.
Really?
With one set of characters. You can of course go back and do it with all the characters and all the all the combinations of characters, because they all have different little conversations with each other. But there's really not much of a story there. It's of course really fan servicey, which you should know you're getting into that by looking at it. And it plays like kind of like a Smash Brothers.
Really?
It's like a Smash Brothers fighting game. Like,
I was gonna say it has like a dedicated special.
Yeah, there's
button,
a special move button, and you do your special moves by hitting a direction in that button, like Smash Brothers. And then other than that, there's throw and light attack and heavy attack. So it's really
it. It's a like almost like a 2-button fighter with a special button.
And then the finisher button, and the only way you can win a fight is by hitting the other person with the finisher when their health is low enough.
That's weird.
So it's really beginner friendly, and I imagine just a fun like party fighting game. But the theme doesn't really mesh with that because it's very fan servicey and very fan driven, and if you don't know who these characters are, you're not gonna care.
I was kind of worried about that, to be honest.
But with the beginner's control scheme, it doesn't know who it's for.
Yeah.
It plays like a game for beginners or people first getting into the franchise, but the rest of the game didn't get that note because it's fan service out the wazoo.
Yeah, I had originally pre-ordered this game, and because I really like the SNK characters, and I love fighting games, but I think I'm gonna like not pick it up.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna funnel that money into something else.
I don't think it's worth paying full price for.
No,
unfortunately.
No. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's cute, and I could definitely see how it would be fun to play with friends in a party game setting.
Sure.
But there's really just not enough there for a single player. And like also a lot of the regular costumes, like the characters' costumes you would know, you have to unlock. Like in every picture of the game, you see Mai in the cow bikini.
Yeah,
that is her default outfit.
That's not cool.
Yeah, you gotta spend coins you earn in the game to buy her regular like kimono or whatever.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No, I don't think I'm interested. SNK has some kind of press release thing coming here in the next couple of weeks. They announced. I'm pretty sure the next SNK fighting game is going to be announced with that. So hopefully we'll actually get a real SNK fighter. But yeah, no, that doesn't sound.
That even the story is a letdown. It doesn't even have like. Did you ever play Gallus Fighter for the Neo Geo Pocket Color?
No.
It's basically the same concept. It's an all King of Fighters lady fighting game. But that one had the twist at the end where you fight Iori Yagami in drag, which is pretty funny for the ending.
That's funny.
This one, it's just
a
character that this is apparently from one of the newer games that I didn't recognize, was the one that had locked them all in this pocket dimension and made them fight.
Really? What's the character?
It's like Kukuri. He's like a sand guy.
Oh, really?
Got sand powers.
Okay, yeah. He's from 14, the newest fighting game.
I didn't recognize him because I haven't played a new one. Like last one I played was like 2000 something.
Huh.
2000 single aught. was the last time I played a King of Fighters, so I had no idea who this guy was.
Interesting. Because he's just a standard fighter in King of Fighters 14. Like, that's it.
Well, in this one, he created a pocket dimension where he's forcing all the King of Fighters ladies to fight.
And also Terry Bogard.
Also, he turned Terry into a girl somehow. And it's a tag team game, too, so you pick two characters to fight. But he just is tag teamed up with himself, which is dumb.
Oh, that's weird.
And kind of a missed opportunity to throw another evil character in there. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, how many characters are in it?
I forget off the top of my head.
All
doesn't
the
seem
production,
like enough.
Yeah, all the production things, like, is it like 7 or 8, something like that?
Yeah.
That's fairly small.
Yeah.
That's a small roster.
It's not enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd give it a solid, like, maybe a 6 out of 10 if I'm
Yikes.
feeling generous.
Yikes. Well, so I'm guessing, like, in a year or two when it's in the, $10 bin.
Yeah,
at
it'd
that
be
point.
good for a giggle.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But that's my review on that, and I'll probably get a written one up on the website too.
Oh, okay.
In the next couple days.
Very cool.
Other than that, we saw Rifftrax Krull.
Yeah, I wanted to go see that. Yeah. How was it?
It was a film.
Krull is kind of a weird one.
No, Krull was fun because it's weird.
Yeah.
The Rifftrax were good. They were at their usual level of hilarity. So funny stuff.
Sure.
And Krull was just weird enough to make it that much more fun.
Oh yeah. What'd you think of those flaming ponies?
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That went on for like 10 minutes.
Oh, it takes forever. Yeah, they're on those ponies forever.
Oh yeah. And there's that great Cyclops with his constantly weirdly blinking eye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or maybe he's just winking at everybody. I don't know.
They were very proud of that animatronic, and
Yeah.
they used it as much as possible.
And there's so many scenes that it's like, why are we doing this, and why is it still on the screen? Like the whole spider
Oh yeah.
sequence, that was weird.
Well, that movie was done around the same time as Dune. It was done around the same time as one of the Star Wars, and like.
Oh yeah, it very much
was...
wants to be like a fantasy movie and also Star Wars all at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like they started shooting for Lord of the Rings, and then Star Wars was a big thing, so they're like, we need to get some lasers in this, like, right now.
Yeah. I don't think it came out at the same time as this, but I always equate Krull with Flash Gordon.
Yeah, it kind of has
of that same kind of aesthetic and same kind of feel to it. Did you see Liam Neeson in it?
Yes.
Because he
he's
is an
in it.
unnamed extra in like the band of Marauders. It's like one of his first roles.
Yeah, the Rifftrax guys made sure to point him out.
Oh, I bet.
They didn't do a short at the beginning, though. I was
really?
very disappointed by that.
That's a bummer, because those are usually the best part of the whole night.
They usually always do a short, but I don't know if Krull was just that long.
It's a long one. It's like a 2-hour movie or something like that.
It didn't feel... Well, I mean, parts of it felt long, but it didn't feel like I was there for... Like, I imagine if we had not seen it Rifftrax, it would have felt like a 4-hour movie, but...
Yeah. I remember watching it by myself, no Rifftrax or anything once, and there's a reason why I don't own it.
Yeah, the only reference point I had for Krull before going in is that I had played the Atari game when I was a kid. And I liked that Atari game.
Yeah.
I'm sure it holds up. Also, the glaive is just hilarious.
Oh,
Spinning. It's like one of those boomerangs, like the 3-ended boomerangs.
Oh, yeah, his magic fidget spinner that he throws at people.
Yeah,
Did they make that joke?
They actually didn't make a fidget spinner joke, which seems like a missed opportunity.
It kind of does.
Because it is a fidget spinner with knives duct taped to it.
Yeah.
But once again, the Rifftrax guys never let you down. It's always a good show. It's always worth the price of admission.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that one being in like rerun. They always do like a couple of reruns every year.
Yeah.
Or they end up putting them online as well. I think after like a year or something like that. So more than likely pick that up. So
I wonder what they're doing for Halloween this year. They always do one for Halloween. So I wonder if they're doing a Halloween one this year. Last year was it Carnival of Souls?
Or was
it Night of the Living Dead?
It might have been Night of the Living Dead.
Which I've seen Night of the Living Dead so many times now in so many different ways.
It's good though.
It's a great movie.
It holds up.
yeah.
They're coming for you. What's the
Barbara.
Yeah, Barbara.
All right. Well, hey, we have actually hit our halfway mark, so we're going to go ahead and take a break here. And when we come back, we have more Check It Outs, maybe with the same people, maybe maybe Josh will show up, maybe some people will leave. Who knows?
Maybe Sam will be on the mic by himself.
You might get a half hour of Sam. Yeah, a chock full of Sam. That's this episode.
Maybe I'll record myself on my iPhone for 20 minutes. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. Who knows? All right, we'll be back. Hey, we're back. That was Harder, Better, Faster by Daft Punk. And Cody and Samantha, where'd you go? And Josh, when'd you get here?
I just teleported in. It's morphin' time.
All right, awesome. So yeah, welcome to the show, Josh.
It's good. It's good to be here, Sam.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and keep on rocking and rolling with some of our Check It Outs. And you know what? I thought I was done with my Check It Outs from the first half of the show, but I actually have one more.
You're never done.
I'm never done. I'm never done checking stuff out. But to tie in with the song that we played, I recently watched the animated movie that Daft Punk made. This was years ago. They made this movie in, I want to say it was like 2012, 2013, something like that. It's called Interstellar 5555, the story of the secret star system, and all of the S's in that second part are fives. It's basically just one big long music video that encompasses, like, I want to say about a half dozen of their songs. I think it was over one of their albums.
Yeah. It was one album.
Yeah, and it was really expertly animated. It looks like an old school kind of anime, which, I mean, not really an anime guy, but it's interesting how they took these disparate songs and made a cohesive narrative.
Almost like a God, what do you even call their music? It's not quite electronica and it's not quite dance.
Mm-hmm.
It's like something kind of in between. Like it appeals to like everybody.
Yeah. But no, the basic story of this movie, and it's all told visually because the songs really have nothing to do with what's happening on screen. But it's basically out in the middle of nowhere in space. There's a planet of blue aliens that is all like peaceful and everything, and they all love this one band. And through mishaps or whatever, the band is kidnapped and brainwashed and brought to Earth to make this one record guy money, basically.
Isn't their planet like attacked or
it's
taken over?
It's attacked. Well, it's attacked by what it turns out the record company guy is actually an interstellar
warlord
that needs to collect 5,555 gold records. And theirs was going to be the last one. And it's kind of the adventure of them going through, the mind wiping and being converted into a human temporarily to, do all this.
Yeah.
And there's one space, almost like a space pirate looking guy that kind of goes and helps them and tries and rescues them. And it has a lot of action, and it's like a fantasy adventure kind of thing.
Like I've seen bits and pieces of it. I actually haven't sat down and watched like the whole thing.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, it is like an hour and 15. It's like just under a feature length movie, but it's very good, and you can find most of it on YouTube. I mean, you'd have to go through multiple videos because they pretty much just chop the
song per song.
Songs up. But it's really, really great. And like I said, the animation, while again it's not my thing, they did an excellent job with it. It looks really, really good. Really old school, classic kind of look.
Yeah, which is like almost like my favorite era of anime. I won't say it's my favorite, but it's like one of my favorites. Because like, growing up, watching like my first taste of anime was on Sci-Fi Channel back when they had their Saturday animes.
Oh yeah, or like their late night.
Yeah,
midnight.
Well, originally it was like late night, and then it turned into like noon on Saturdays, and
Yeah.
then it just disappeared and came back. It was so weird.
See, here's the thing. I was aware that Sci-Fi had like a midnight anime thing, but I never actually watched it. I always skipped over it because, well, Space Ghost was playing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got that sweet Space Ghost.
Well, you know what? Like I mentioned in the first half of the show, I think everybody kind of has lines that they kind of either formally or informally kind of draw within their geekdom. Like, I'm going to get into this, I'm not going to get into that. And like I mentioned during the first half with He-Man, where He-Man was kind of a hard line with that. Anime, just in general, was kind of a hard line. Is like, you know what? I can recognize when something is done well and the story is good, but by and large, I am not a fan of that particular medium.
I mean, and that's fine. I mean, I'm not going to call you a bad nerd for not liking anime. I mean, there's a lot of good anime and there's a lot of trash anime.
Yeah.
Like, there are some people I know that just all they do is consume anime and nothing else. And I'm like, there are other things in the world you could be consuming.
Oh yeah, I mean that's part of being a well-rounded geek
Yeah.
or even just a well-rounded person, that you got to be able to absorb things from
Everywhere.
everywhere. Sure.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's lots of things that I like, and it's like with me and Cody. You know, we both started out liking, Friendship is Magic, and then he fell off of it, and I still watched it a little bit after that, but then I kind of fell off of it. I mean, I haven't been back.
As well you should.
Hey, I still enjoyed it.
I like to give you a hard
I
time
know.
about the ponies.
Trust me, you're not the only person.
Speaking
ever did.
of which, did you see Care Bears is making a reboot series that is going to be kind of in the same kind of vein? So we're going to see the Bearzos or whatever we're going to end up calling them.
I don't.
Is that going to be your hard line?
No.
Is that where you're going to draw the line?
My thing is, I think they're going to try too hard,
Oh, yeah.
and it's probably going to not feel genuine.
Yeah, it's going to seem forced. Sure.
Yeah, which I think that was part of the magic, no pun intended, of Lauren Faust's My Little Pony was,
Sure.
It started off and then it evolved and it just, I don't know, something just felt right. I don't know.
No, I understand that.
I don't know. There's lots of things that I like that a lot of people didn't like. Like, I'm a huge Steven Universe fan, and I know some people that didn't really care for it. Heck,
I appreciate what they're doing, and I like a lot of the storylines, but I'm not wild and crazy for Steven Universe. I can sit. I don't have to watch everything first. As soon as it comes out, I don't have to absorb it immediately.
Yeah.
I can take my time with Steven Universe. I can go, you know what, I'm good, and wait till the entire series is done, and then just binge it on my own time.
Yeah.
I don't need to, know exactly. Same with Star versus the Forces of Evil. You guys have talked about that a lot. I'm sure it's an excellent, excellent show, but that's...
Well, here's the thing with
I just haven't had a chance with that.
here's the thing with those two shows. While they are both very, very good, their scheduling and their hiatuses, whatever you want to call it, are really hard to stay with it.
Especially Steven Universe. Yeah.
Oh man, Star's getting real bad too. They haven't had they had huge blocks there where they didn't have anything going on, and then I forgot about it for a little bit, and then I just happened to be on my Disney app and I checked. I'm like, oh, there's like 5 new episodes. I'm like, huh.
And I think they're able to get away with that now, where they weren't able to get away with that before because of the proliferation of digital consuming of the of.
That's the thing.
Sort of things.
All my stuff, like Steven Universe, because the schedule I work and live on is like, it's really hard for me to be up or around at the time when they premiere on the channel.
Right. Channels these days, they're not beholden to specific time frames for their shows, so
Exactly.
they don't necessarily have to put a show out every day at like 3:30 in the afternoon like when we were kids they would have to do it. Now they can just go, here's a big chunk, watch it or download it. We're getting views either way.
My thing is, like, I think doing it like that, you have a chance to actually let creativity and quality flourish.
Yes.
Versus we got to pound 100 of these out right now.
Venture Brothers is a perfect
Exactly.
example of that, because Jackson Public and Doc Hammer are able to do what they want to do exactly when they want to do it. It's been like a year and a half since they're almost 2 years.
I think it's back on now.
It's back on now, but before now, it was like a year and a half, almost 2 years since the last season of
And it
Venture
was
Brothers.
so good.
It's so good, and that's why it continues to be so good.
Adult Swim just gave that, Cartoon Network, in general, because it's all owned by the same thing.
Yeah.
basically just gave them a blank check.
They said, you know what, you're doing good. Just when it's ready, it's ready, and that's kind of the way it needs to be.
Exactly.
I like that model a
And
lot.
I know I talk about cartoons a lot and stuff. I'm like, but that's my thing.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I've always been a huge animation fan. Like, I can look at something and I can tell you like who did it, what studio it came from. That's my thing.
Oh, sure,
like
yeah.
comics are your thing. Animation's like my thing.
Oh, yeah, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with being an adult fan of cartoons, because as long as you're able to kind of look at it critically and be able to recognize some of the nuances and don't just go, well, this is just for kids stuff. I mean, certainly there are a bunch of cartoons that are for kids.
Yeah, and you know what?
And
And
by and large, it is still a children's medium, but more mature stories are being told using the medium.
And it's fantastic.
And that kind of rolls into the next thing. The first thing that I think you mentioned that you kind of checked out this past week, they wrapped up Adventure Time, which was a big deal.
It was
kind of really paved the
huge
way.
deal. 10 seasons. 10 seasons.
And it really kind of paved the way for this kind of more mature
for
way
this Cartoon Network renaissance.
Yeah, using a children's medium to kind of tell more mature stories.
I will say, as the series went on, they started getting later and later time slots.
Yep. Because the show matured with their audience, much like the Harry Potter books.
They grew up with us.
Their show matured with the audience. Because of the first 3 seasons of Adventure Time, there was almost no storyline. It was just
goofiness.
episodic goofiness. Well, same with Steven Universe. The first,
half of the first
season, they were just episodic, just world building.
Yeah,
that's all it was.
Oh, look, Steven can turn his fingers into cats.
Yeah.
That's a weird episode.
That's a weird.
That one almost gets Cronenbergian until the end.
That's an episode that I'm pretty sure can get cut out if you're doing like an essential watch through. If you cut out all the fat and go, okay, these are the episodes that you absolutely have to understand the story.
Like here's the Rose, the episodes pertaining to Rose, and then like here, you don't need
Cookie Cat can get cut.
Cookie Cat's the first episode though.
Is Cookie Cat the first episode?
Yeah, Cookie Cat is the first episode.
Okay, I guess the finger cats.
Yeah,
that one can be cut.
Yeah,
I forget. Together Breakfast.
Together Breakfast.
That shows there are different rooms. They're different. Yeah,
that showed the different. Yeah, that showed the different rooms.
You can cut that and not need it.
No, because you really don't need it.
Right.
But yeah. Anyway, Adventure Time.
Anyway, yes. Tell me about.
Come grab a friend. God, it was an hour long, and it was so long between the episode that led up to it and like this. You know about hiatuses. Adventure Time was getting there too.
Yeah.
Like I love Adventure Time. It was the way it grew and everything, and the nuances it made. About the one thing I loved about Adventure Time, and it's a smart thing that I think storytelling goes, and like Mad Max did this, and Star Wars originally did this. Was it gave you a universe. It makes references to events you haven't seen, but it doesn't insult the intelligence of the viewer to go where they have to explain every little thing.
Right, you can make inferences of what's happened based on context clues.
Yeah, it feels like a living world that's been existing without you.
Fifth Element.
Exactly.
Yeah, just like the movie Fifth Element. There's only one of it. There doesn't need to be any sequels. There doesn't need to be any prequels, because once you're done watching that movie, you know exactly how the universe works.
And it's such a good movie. It's
really
one of
is.
my all-time favorite sci-fi films.
Oh, mine too. Anyway, tell me about the Adventure Time finale.
Okay, so
'Cause I've heard some stuff. I've heard some things.
Do you want me to get spoilery?
Maybe light spoilers. Like,
man, that's gonna be rough.
30 to 40% spoiler.
Okay. Leading up to this episode or whatever, you ran into most of this last season. You find out that Princess Bubblegum is not necessarily the world's greatest person.
Yeah, she ended up kind of a villain, didn't she? A little bit.
Not really. Maybe. She's more control freaky. And she kind of made some decisions that maybe weren't the best. Like she had relatives growing up, and she's like over 1,000 years old or whatever.
Right.
She had her Uncle Gumball and a couple cousin Chicle, and can't remember the woman's name, but anyway,
All different kinds of gum.
Yeah, they were all the same. They were all gum people. They were products of the Mushroom War.
Okay, sure.
And then rebuilding Ooh or Earth or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Beforehand.
Definitely Earth.
Yeah. Especially when you go through those weird episodes where it's like it shows you like human Finn or farm world Finn or whatever they call that. Mm-hmm. Or it shows like a normal world.
Yep.
Well, they come back because it turns out that she didn't like what they were doing. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, Uncle Gumball was kind of mad science-y, kind of getting almost like supervillainy there, and she did something where she had to, where she changed them into candy people, like subservient candy people.
Ah, interesting.
And they just lived in the kingdom as just goofy candy people, like they did in all, like all the people in that area.
Interesting. Was it any named characters?
Not really.
Not really.
Like,
okay.
Gumball was like a bowl of punch or like fruit punch or something. I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember.
So it's not like they secretly turned Peppermint Butler into.
No. It wasn't.
Like
It wasn't like one of them was Peppermint Butler or Starchy or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
But they come back and they kind of become like the background pseudo villains of the season,
Oh, okay.
leading up like a bunch of different things where they're trying to talk peace, and then it just boils down into it's going to be an all-out war between these two factioning candy kingdoms. And then Fern gets roped up into it too, the grass Finn.
Right. Yeah. See, that's about where I dropped off from the show. Is the leaf sword that turned, like when Finn lost his arm and then grew a leaf in his.
Yeah, when his dad
And
came back and stuff like that.
You know what? I just want to take an aside. Anyone that's hasn't seen or knows anything about Adventure Time, we probably sound like we're speaking gibberish.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but this conversation is just for us, basically.
Yeah, I mean
But I'm cool with it, but I understand.
There are a lot of nuances leading up to this, because there for a while, instead of having regular episodes of Adventure Time every week, like once a week, they were doing these little blocks, kind of like Steven Bombs.
Yeah.
Where they have like a set story they want to tell. And there were some really good ones in there. Like they had one all about how Marceline became a vampire queen.
Right.
I mean, she's always been like a demon because her dad was always,
The devil.
basically
Yeah.
the king of the Nightosphere.
Yeah. The devil.
Yeah. But then it shows how she became the vampire queen by fighting vampires that were attacking humans before they left the land of Ooh.
Ah. Okay.
But then you find the humans later on islands. That was the island story arc with Finn and Susan Strong.
Right.
The big huge
one with like the fish gills.
No, the people she was living with had fish gills. She was actually human.
Oh, she was. Okay.
Yes.
See, interesting.
Yep. Yeah, they actually find out where she came from, and you find out all this other stuff. I mean, there's an ending in the series finale of Adventure Time. There's a part where they sing the ending in a full long version of the ending theme to Adventure Time, and it goes through all these scenes where a bunch of like things kind of come together.
Okay.
Certain characters showing where they went or where they're going.
Kind of shows you the future of where everything kind of goes.
Sort of, yeah. Because the whole opening of this episode was 1,000 years in the future.
Okay.
Which they've shown the far future of Ooh a few times.
Yeah.
And it's never been great. Like, Finn's been dead for a long time, all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was about these two characters. One was the dog princess, and she's obviously a descendant of Jake.
Sure, yeah.
And then this little white cat guy named Smarmy or something like that. I can't remember. He had a weird name. But they end up going to find the king of Ooh to answer some questions, because they find Finn's robot arm.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Like buried in the ground or something. And they're like, we don't know what this is, so let's go ask the king of Ooh.
Yeah.
And then they go climb a mountain or whatever, and it's BMO.
Oh, the little robot guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's BMO. It's BMO with a cracked screen.
Oh, interesting.
And he basically, it's never really clear if BMO's a boy or a girl. It doesn't matter. BMO's a little, yeah, BMO's a little autonomous computer thing.
Doesn't matter.
And tells the story of what happened.
Yeah.
To Finn and Jake and all of them.
Okay, so do you think that's just set up as a frame device for this episode, or do you think they retroactively are saying like, this is BMO telling the entire story over the 10 seasons to these two characters of like from the beginning?
No, I think it was more like what happened to them versus all the time leading up to them.
Gotcha.
Like, because there's even a part where it shows like in this 1,000-year future or whatever, you see the kid that used to be the Lich. He was the adopted baby of...
You're beyond me.
I know. The Lich's storyline ended when they brought in Finn's dad. Because they basically defeated the Lich by throwing this goo on him that turned him living.
Gotcha. Well, listen, we're starting to get so deep into the
let me focus back into the episode.
I'll tell you what. Let me just ask you a couple questions.
Okay.
So we can kind of move on. Do you think that the finale was satisfactory? Do you think it was a good ending to the series, or do you think they were lacking in anywhere, or did it kind of wrap everything up pretty well?
I think it wrapped stuff up pretty well.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to wrap up something that was running for so long that there for a minute had no direction.
Sure, yeah. For a while it had no direction.
Yeah. Did Adventure Time need to go on for 10 seasons? Probably not.
No, probably not.
They could have this interjection of story with Princess Bubblegum's family and past and everything could have easily been done at any time. It could have been done 5 seasons ago and wrapped up.
You mean like when Pendleton Ward left the series, when the creator left the show?
Yeah, but it was. But he didn't leave so much because he didn't like it anymore. He just couldn't handle the
pressure of having a really
successful show.
Yeah, that actually leads me into my next question. Because he left the series and he was more or less hands off once this was seasons ago. Do you think that the finale to this show, the ending to this show, was something that he kind of left behind in like a story Bible somewhere, or do you think that this is completely separate from his original vision of the series?
It's hard to say, really. I haven't really read too many interviews with Pennington or the new showrunner. It definitely felt like the guy who took over was close to Pennington.
Okay.
It felt right. I would say it felt within the vein of Adventure Time.
Okay, good.
Because there were so many storylines they wrapped up. Simon, Marceline and Bubblegum.
I heard about the Marceline and Bubblegum thing. I also heard about the Ice King and Gunter thing.
Yeah,
I don't want to get into any spoilers because that
one really surprised me.
Yeah. Again, don't want to spoil it, but yeah.
Because there were like so many times where there was like the huge season ender where Gunter trying to be a legit monster.
Mm-hmm. But again, let's not.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of a.
Yeah.
Last question: do you think they, the way they ended the series, did they leave the door open for it to return, like the new adventures of Adventure Time? Or
I mean, in theory, you could have, because they definitely leave it to where this is a new world. This is it's still the world. It's just time has passed, kind of thing.
Okay.
Should it continue? Probably not.
Gotcha.
I tell you, I don't know what Cartoon Network's going to do, because regular show's been done. Adventure Time's now done. It feels like Steven Universe is nearing the end of its
wrapping
story.
Up pretty quick. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't really watched too many of the new shows. Most of them really aren't that great. Like we have We Bare Bears, which is it's fun.
It's fun, but that's not like something you go to for one continuous storyline.
Yeah, no,
it's a joke a minute kind of.
Yeah, I mean it's good, and the animation's very clean.
It's great. Yeah.
It's not sloppy or anything.
Yeah.
It's definitely some art put into it. Onion and Apple, which is interesting, but not. Basically, all they're running on right now is reruns of old shows and Teen Titans Go.
Yeah. All right. Listen, I hate to stop you there, but we have 5 minutes left in the show.
Oh, holy crud!
And you went to a LARP thing last weekend. Take 5 minutes.
Okay, so
and tell me about LARPing.
Every September in Ohio, we have our premier event, which is called Battle Cry. And it's our Labor Day weekend. It's our long weekend of doing stuff where we basically run fighting tournaments, lots and lots of classes on learning all kinds of different skills. Sometimes it's sewing, chainmail weaving, leatherworking. We did all kinds of stuff. I helped teach an archery class.
Cool.
because the people I'm in a belt line with are known for being archers, and we were tasked to do that.
Cool.
Because honestly, people love archery. That's a big thing that pulls in new people. Oh, we can shoot bows? That's fun.
You can shoot bows at people?
Yeah. Well, that was
Yeah.
the thing is, like, I always say archery is Amcard's favorite hobby.
Yeah.
I actually got a couple awards over the weekend for my prowess in archery.
Excellent. Congratulations.
And as the Grand Duke, the outgoing Grand Duke told me, he goes, "These are for your amazing shots, both good and bad." Because I don't miss often, but I don't always land a legal hit.
Ah.
Sometimes I have a habit of shooting people in the face. Not
where I thought that sentence was going to go, but...
actually, that's a legal shot.
Really?
Yes.
Fun. Okay.
Getting hit in the sensitive areas is a legal shot.
Interesting.
That's why.
Very
That's
interesting.
whenever anyone gets mad, I tell them wear a cup.
Wear a cup. Yep.
So anyway, like I got somebody from across the field between trees over the weekend.
Excellent.
Yeah, like he turned around. He looked at me dead in the eyes, and I was like, "Hey," and then he walked off. He wasn't mad or anything. He was more like, "Huh, okay,
Yeah, okay. All right.
But yeah, it was a good time. It was hot. It was so hot, and the bugs were.
Oh yeah, it was a rough weekend
I don't
for
know,
it.
The people can't see me, but I am eaten alive.
You're more bug bite than man at this point.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It was really hot. It got really muggy. It rained really hard for like 10 minutes at one point.
It just makes everything sticky, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it almost broke my umbrella.
Really?
Like
That
I was walking to the bathroom,
Oh
and
man,
I had
that's a good umbrella too.
yeah. No, not my sword one.
Okay.
That one, unfortunately, is made kind of cheaply, and it would have died.
Gotcha.
This was like my imported English one that I've had for like 100 years, with like a wood handle and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, I was like, oh man. But it was a good time. There were a lot of people, so many people. It always pulls in a huge crowd.
Cool.
But it's a great time. It's if you ever want to go to a local event, and we always hold it in Springfield. It's definitely the way to go if you want to get into Amped Guard, which is the LARP system we use.
Okay. You say you do that yearly?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Every year, Labor Day weekend is
Cool.
when we do it. And here in a couple weeks, I'll be going to Illinois for Keep on the Borderlands.
Oh yeah, you told me about past years. Of
yeah,
that.
this is the one that pulls in like 1,000 people crowd.
That's wild.
with the portable wooden castles they build.
That's awesome. Yeah, now that sounds really fun. Is this kind of like the big kind of ender to the season? Because I know with fall coming up and everything,
We'll have
I mean,
one-
I know they still do some wintertime events.
It's one of the last
but-
big events that we have.
Gotcha.
We'll have one in October, but I'm not sure how many people it's going to pull in because it's really the first time we've really done this one. But it's kind of like a love letter that some guy wanted to do. It's kind of like a reference to an old D&D module
Okay.
called Dungeon Crawl, or what's it called? Dungeon Crawl? I can't remember. Basically, think of a game show with sponsors and stuff, but adventurers go through a dungeon. And and win prizes and
Oh,
stuff.
that's cool. Oh, that's fun.
But we're calling this X Crawl,
Okay.
and basically it's going to be like almost like pro wrestling meets medieval combat kind of thing.
Okay. Now you have my attention.
Oh yeah,
Because that sounds rad.
like I'm thinking about getting a bunch of like patches for like Monster and Mountain Dew and stuff, and putting them all over like a shield cover and whatnot.
Excellent. Excellent. Can you fight with a luchador mask on? Is the question.
I mean, you can do that on regular days. You don't have to do that. If
Excellent.
you just want that to be your character, you can be that character. Oh, that was something else that happened this weekend.
Okay.
A friend of mine
Yeah.
who, I love dearly, he's a great guy. One of the nicest amp guarders I've ever met, the best, received a very prestigious honor. He was awarded his Paragon Monster. Okay, so Monster used to be a class you could sign up and play.
Okay.
and
This has got to be the last.
I
Story.
know. But we really don't do Monster. I mean, monsters unfortunately aren't written very well in the rule book and whatnot.
More of a Red Bull man, I see.
Nice joke.
Thanks.
But South is his name. I've never seen his real face.
Okay.
He wears a goblin mask all the time
Really?
when he's at events and stuff.
Yeah.
And he puts on this persona. He never breaks character.
Really?
He's super nice and super awesome, and he never takes himself too seriously. He just goes to have fun. And so the king of all of the greater kingdom of our region decided to award South his dedication to his character.
Okay.
And I got to make his Paragon sash.
Really?
Yes, which monster sashes are silver. and Paragon status is silver trim. So I had to rack my brain on how to make it.
Ah, gotcha.
But apparently a lot of people really liked it, and it came out really well. And he about cried when he was awarded it. And
Really?
it about made me cry seeing him.
Oh, wow.
So happy he was.
That's awesome.
He's like, this is he said, this is the greatest thing I could attain in this game. This is even more exciting than, say, getting knighthood.
That's cool.
And he was super happy, and he's like, I gotta go call my fiance. And
That's really awesome.
Oh yeah,
that's super cool.
It was a great cap to the end of the weekend.
Yeah, so that's you know what, that's the way to do it.
It was very
more
heartfelt.
about the fun and not.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. That's cool.
And the thing is, I didn't really see anybody get too mad or anything. Everyone seemed to be, despite the horrible weather and everything, everything seemed to be in pretty good spirits.
Good.
It was a good weekend.
That's good. That's.
But yeah, if anybody's listening who may want to get interested, either message me or just look up AmpGuard and look up chapters in your area, because we're all over Ohio. Mm-hmm. We're all over the country.
Right.
I mean, it's nuts, but it's a lot of fun. But yeah, it's my favorite hobby.
That's awesome.
Plus, it's a super active hobby and helps me kind of keep the weight off.
You know what? I remember when you started doing this stuff, and I'm really impressed that you stuck with it as long as you have. And I've gotten so into it and gotten so far into it.
I think I'm 3 years into it now.
Yeah, you started it about the time we started the show on ZMO.
Oh yeah.
I remember that was like one of the first check it outs that we did, and
that wasn't HeroClix.
That wasn't HeroClix. Yeah, but I'm just I'm so impressed that you stuck with it so long, dude. I really am.
I still like it a lot.
See, that's the way to be. Anyway, we have hit time, so let's go ahead and wrap the show up. Thank you all for listening to this very kind of chopped up Frankenstein of a show this week. You can find us each and every day over at nerdoverload.com.
You can find us on almost all forms of social media: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram at Nerdoverload Now.
That's right. You can email the show, staff@nerdoverload.com, where you have a ton of listener emails that we are going to get to in the next week or two. I'm compiling some of the questions that were brought up. Jerry, we're going to get to them, I promise. But anyone who has any questions or comments on anything that we've talked about on any of these shows or any of the past shows, staff@nerdoverload.com.
You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nerd Overload TV.
Yep, just do a search over on YouTube for that. Let's see, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, and just about anywhere else you can find a podcast. You can find this episode and any of our old back episodes. We've done over 200 of these. There's bound to be at least a couple that are pretty good in there.
Right?
I mean, law of averages, right?
I mean, you put a bunch of monkeys in a room with a typewriter, you're going to get the works of Shakespeare.
Eventually, yeah. Let's see. Also, we have some t-shirts for sale. It kind of helps keep the show running. You can go to bit.ly/nerdoverloadT. That's TEE. We have 3 shirts over there right now. I think we're going to have a 4th one on there pretty soon, and we're always adding more stuff because, hey, why not? T-shirts are cool.
We've always got in-jokes.
We always have in-jokes, and as long as we're making in-jokes, we're going to have t-shirts. So, again, thank you all for tuning in, and we will be back next week.
Pete's out.